Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Boss Battle podcast. My name is James, I'm your host, and with me today I've got Chris.
Hello.
And Adam.
Hello.
Today we've got lots to talk about. We've got the Nintendo Switch announcement, we've got a Forza Horizon 3 mini review, we've got Chris's movie review to look forward to, a book review as well, I think.
Indeed.
As well as what we've been up to this week and our usual quiz. So lots to cover, and hopefully this one won't be as long as the last few. And apologies up front to those who listened to episodes 2 and 3. The audio quality, hands up from us, wasn't brilliant. We're refining our recording process, it's getting better, and hopefully this one is going to sound a lot easier for the hour or so that you'll end up listening to us. So, let's start then with a bit round table. Guys, what have you been up to this week? Chris?
This week I've started watching season 2 of a show I inadvertently alluded to on I think episode 1 actually, called The Missing, but it was in context to another show that I reviewed that had the same writers. So The Missing series 1 had James Nesbitt and a couple of other faces you recognise. It was based on the disappearance of a child in France, a British boy. And series 2, it's a separate story completely, the only connection being that the main French detective involved in the case featured in series 1 is also part of the case in series 2. So again, it's to do with a disappearance, but it's slightly different in the sense that, and this isn't a massive spoiler or anything, but there's a child that goes missing and then reappears years later. And the way the narrative works, it switches between different time zones, time bands, and it's episode 3 at the moment out of 8, and it's on BBC iPlayer for anyone who wants to catch up on it. And it is just like series 1, absolutely gripping. It's fantastic. It's like a puzzle that you get a couple of pieces to each episode, and it just, for me personally anyway, it just builds your intrigue more and more and more, and it feels like a long time to wait a week for an episode, so I'm loving that.
How long is the series, do you know?
8 episodes, I believe, so it's an hour time, so it unfolds very cleverly. The only worry is that the payoff isn't as good as the build-up, but the build-up so far is superb. Every episode has had a bit of a moment that's made you go, it's had some form of reveal, whether it's in the present time or the pattern. It's very layered and it's very well acted and shot. It's interesting because it's shot in Germany, and the first series was shot in France, so it's quite refreshing to see a TV show that, okay, the main characters are British fundamentally, but the locations are really interesting because it's based around sort of a British Army barracks based in Germany, but it's sort of surrounded by forest, and it's just a really good show.
You might have said this and I might have missed it. Is it still James Nesbitt?
No, so it's a completely fresh story. The only connecting character, it was his kid in the first season, and there was a French detective because the abduction happened in France.
That's the only guy that carries over.
And he is linked to this. Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
No, I saw Magnificent Seven, but I'll feature that in my now famous movie review later on.
How about you, Adam?
Playing this week, played lots of Forza Horizon 3, as I'll let you know what I think on the review. Got to level 110, I think, now. So I've put in quite a fair few hours on it. Played a bit more of the Gears of War campaign, which I'm loving at the moment, about an hour into it now. We completed our first Horde mode, got to play 50, our first attempt, which was good fun. And also we played some Pro Clubs, which I think we streamed. Which is good. We actually got promoted. So.
How many hours did we spend on that Horde mode? I can't actually remember. Was it
3, wasn't it?
It was at least 3, wasn't it?
3 hours,
going from 0 to 50.
Yeah.
And we only had to restart once, wasn't it? That was on
wave
the 50th wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pro Clubs, you're quite right. We got promoted last night, which was good. Enjoyed that. Really enjoying getting back into that.
Yeah, it's been 2 years since we last properly played, and even then we didn't really dabble with it. I'd say it's probably been 3 or 4 years since we've actually.
11 or 12, wasn't it? We actually put the real chunk of hours in. That's quite a long time.
Yeah, it seems a lot more improved this year than what it has been, and the AI actually, from the most part, from what we've played so far, seems to have improved. That was always a bugbear with it, was rubbish defenders and goalkeepers.
You had FIFA 16, didn't you? But you didn't play it a lot.
No,
I didn't play huge amounts, but I think I did
more
more than you.
Ultimate Team, and that was about it. I think we had a few head-to-heads.
It was almost a year off, wasn't it, last year for us with that game?
Yeah.
Cool. Any TV for you? Anything? Movies?
just went to watch Inferno at the cinema. Very good film. Differs, as I said, I didn't read in the last one, but this is another book that I have actually read. Differs a lot at the end. The ending's completely different to the book, which takes a lot away from the book.
Is this the Dan Brown? Is it Dan Brown?
Yeah.
I've never read the
Da
books.
Vinci Code series,
Yeah.
I guess you could call it.
Yeah, so I saw the Da Vinci Code when it came out, and I enjoyed that. And then the second film, I saw it, but I can't remember what the name it was.
Angels and Demons, because I only saw that one.
I wasn't really that fussed by that.
If you're not going to watch it, little spoiler alert, if anybody doesn't want to actually know what happens.
So if you don't want to know the scores,
Yeah.
turn it now.
Basically, throughout the whole film, this guy thinks the Earth's getting overpopulated, comes up with a way of basically he invents a biological weapon that they think is going to kill everybody. So they spend the whole film trying to track down this biological weapon. Eventually they find it, stop it going off, all is good. But in the book, what actually happened was the biological weapon gets released well before they even know about this biological weapon, so it's already out there, already contaminating people. And it's not actually out there to kill people. What it does is it selects genes in certain people and only allows those people to reproduce. So it controls human population growth by only allowing certain people in the population to reproduce. And they find out it gets released at the end of the book.
So why did the film go so? It sounds like they've strayed not just a little bit from the story,
Massively.
massively.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
I don't know I think the book ending's a lot better, and I don't know whether they just thought it was like overcomplicated in the time that they had to portray the film. Or
The sentiment probably, it's not really Hollywood, is it?
Yeah.
Like natural selection and being preferential.
well, basically, there's no win. The bad guy wins because he's
exactly.
done what he wanted to do. But that ending, I think, is a much better ending for the film. But
I say yours is the sound like the film's a little bit sort of happily ever after.
yeah,
Tom Hanks saves the world.
Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly
Which is odd because he's one of the few actors you would expect to see in a film that might not play out as you'd expect. You know, he's the kind of guy that wouldn't. He's not always the winner. He's not always the hero. I could see him playing a role where in a film went wrong. It's strange that they've gone so far away. It almost feels like
it
took the title of a book and just made it's very loose.
It didn't seem like the same thing, and I went and saw it with my girlfriend, and we both read the book, and she was the one who actually got me to read the book, and both quite disappointed in what they did and the way they twisted it, and what didn't feel like the book at all. It did in parts. They missed out. There's a woman, I don't know actors' names, but the woman who's in the film isn't portrayed the way the book portrays her.
I think is it Alicia Vikander? It's the one that's in the recent Bourne film. I think,
Yeah, she's quite fit. That's what I know.
brunette,
Okay.
yeah. I'm glad you said
Is that your professional opinion?
Yeah.
It's quite fit.
Yeah, but, and they didn't portray her character the way the book portrays it either. She just comes across as quite a smart, attractive woman, which in the book isn't quite right either. But yeah,
That's not uncommon though, is it? I mean, quite often books write characters, male and female, to be fairly ordinary, everyday people, and then Hollywood has to go and make them pretty
extraordinary.
sellable.
But yeah, so that was what I saw. So it's a good film, worth watching. But if you've read the book, you're probably going to be a bit disappointed with it.
I think that's not uncommon though, isn't it? I was going to say, yeah. I mean, I remember watching. I haven't read a lot of books, but one of the ones I had read recently that I saw the film adaptation for was Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And the book was great, quite brutal, quite sad in places, really difficult read. The film was actually a little bit soft, and it kind of cut a lot of that stuff out, and it was a little bit too easygoing. I mean, I think it's the little girl who dies in the first one. Spoiler, but it's been out for ages. She's bludgeoned to death in the book, but she dies fairly harmlessly in the film. Well, I can imagine bludgeoning a young child. Probably not a good thing to do in a movie, but when you've read that in the book, it makes you feel a certain way about the lead character, and whereas I never got that attachment to Jennifer Lawrence's character in the films, because a lot of the stuff that made you, I guess, sympathise with her and empathise with what she was going through was the fact that she'd seen all this stuff that you'd witnessed with her, whereas in the film it never happens to her. See, her attitude and the way she behaves doesn't always match up with what you're seeing her go through. I didn't like it. Anyway,
there's a lot more politics to films, isn't there? So in terms of like getting a certain certification and also the tone, getting the tone.
Appeal,
so a dark book is always, unless they're going to go straight out and go for an 18 certificate and then restrict their audience and market share and profitability, it's hard to make it.
I think one of the few examples that's broke that mould in terms of restrictive age ratings, restricting success is probably Deadpool this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Probably one of the few films
Very
it's got
much.
that's really made a good job of being an 18 rated film.
Yeah.
So much so that I think Logan's gone that way, isn't it? Yeah. Well, that trailer dropped.
Yeah, it did.
Since the last time we did the podcast. So have
think
you all
they've-
seen that? Have you
looks
watched
promising.
that?
No, I
Yeah.
haven't seen the first.
You haven't seen the trailer yet? Oh, it's really
Have a
good.
look,
It looks
yeah.
really good.
I think they've all realised that you don't need kids to watch these Marvel films.
Yeah.
A lot of adults have grown up with it,
Yeah.
identify with these characters,
Yeah.
and will go and watch it.
Well, I mean, Wolverine, you know, he's always been a violent character all the way through the comic books. I mean, I've not read a lot of the comics, but I know his backstory's quite gruesome, but you don't really see that in the films. It's quite tame, whereas I think we're going to see quite a dark film from this one. And I mean, even some of the stills I've seen of Patrick Stewart's character, Professor X, because he's based, I don't know how many years in the future, I'm guessing
sure.
20 years maybe, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I don't think they've actually told us yet, have they? But it's based in the future anyway, and the trailer alludes to mutants no longer existing. So I'm not sure how they're going to explain that away. There are various storylines they can follow from the comics, I think. X-23 is in there, which is Wolverine's clone daughter. And she has 2 claws instead of 3 that emerge from her. And although whether she's going to use that, we'll see that in the film, I don't know. But Charles Xavier's in it, and he's haggard, he's old, his health's gone. I think they allude to him losing his power. I can't remember. He was losing his mind or something, which was his main tool. I can't remember. It looks brilliant.
It does.
And it's the first one we'll have seen Wolverine without his sort of trademark peaks of hair and
Yeah, I've seen
chops.
the
He's more sort of like
the
haggard
poster
and-
for it.
Yeah, it looks really good. Really interested in that.
It does.
I mean, it might just be a well-cut trailer again, because let's be honest,
Yeah.
I've seen a few of those in recent years. Suicide Squad springs to mind as being an incredibly well-cut trailer. Godzilla
was
brilliant,
classic.
brilliant trailer, rubbish movie. So we'll see. But that dropped this week. So I've done a few things this week actually for a change. Normally I'm the one sitting here saying I haven't been out to play a game, I haven't done anything. I actually finished Jessica Jones finally, so I think I got through the final 5 or so episodes of that.
Worth it, 'cause I haven't really got past the first couple of episodes.
Have you not?
No.
It never gets as good as Daredevil for me,
No.
personally, but it got a lot better the second half, and by the end it was good. What makes it is David Tennant's character.
Yeah, I haven't seen him yet.
Kilgrave. When he gets in,
Mental
and
damage.
you need to get, even when you first see him, you need to get another couple episodes past that before he becomes a key. But he's not a bad guy that's kept at a distance. So fairly short after his introduction, him and Jessica are face to face, and they've got some crazy interactions that they get into. There's a lot of stuff that happens in it. I don't want to spoil it for either of you in case you go to watch it, Adam. But there's a lot of things that happen in it where they're not really explained away by the end. So there's a performance enhancing drug that appears in there somewhere along the lines, and they never explain where it comes from, and they never explain or close off that story arc. So whether they're saving it for future seasons,
There's
and
no
it's just,
Russian athletes in it then, no?
there's no Russian athletes. It's just little things like that were a bit odd. I've made in my little notes here. I put I enjoyed it, but I won't rush into Luke Cage.
Right.
Because I mean, Carl's already said he thinks Luke Cage is probably the lesser of the 3 series, and if it is, then I'm not in any rush. I think I got into Jessica Jones too quickly after finishing Daredevil season 2. And I don't
Set
think
the benchmark high.
I needed a break from that again. I had quite a big break between Daredevil season 1 and season 2, so I think I'm going to take a bit of a break on that and then pick up Luke Cage probably in a couple of months' time. Try something different. I've got that Stranger Things earmarked to give that a go, so that's my next thing to try.
First, yeah.
So that was my TV. I played a few games this week, so Adam alluded to Gears of War 4, so we've been doing some Horde mode and that, but I've also finished the campaign. I was a massive Gears fan, I have to say. I was pleased with it. Big throwback, lots of nostalgia. I won't spoil anything for you because I know you're still playing through it.
Still went for it.
It
does play a lot like the old ones though, which is good.
And I would say the first act or so is probably a bit slow going and a bit of a grind, but once you get past that, it barrels really quickly, and it was over before I knew it, to be honest. It ended. It's one of those things that ends and you're like, oh, that's it. You know, I was ready for more. And there's a really, really good. When you finished it, I would like to do a very quick spoiler cast or something with you. But there's a really good small nugget at the end, which you'll only get if you're a Gears fan and you know the previous 3 well. But there's something there to lead on to what comes next that's got me really interested in what comes next. I think at the point it finished, I was like, oh, that was good. Don't know where it's going to go from there. And then they drop this really small thing happens at the end, and you go, wow, okay, give me Gears 5.
Excited.
I want to play it.
We're going to have to finish it tomorrow now.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. There's a couple of moments in there where I'll have you holding your breath. And again, I don't want to go into detail. I'll ask you about it when you've finished it. Perhaps if you've done it by the time we record the next episode, we could do a section on that, maybe do a little spoiler on it. So yeah, big Gears 4. I also finished the Batman Arkham VR, which doesn't take a lot of doing as it only lasts about an hour. It is an experience really, and it's a tech demo for VR rather than a full-fledged game.
Yeah.
It was £15 to buy, so you know you're not getting a AAA game with long life. But I have to say the experience for as long as it lasted was really good. Really, really cool. Standing in my living room, I hit my light fitting a couple of times while I was lashing out doing things as Batman, which was quite good. It's much more the investigation side, the sort of crime solving side rather than the crime fighting, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's split into 3 chapters, and the first chapter is literally you getting dressed. That's how short it is. It gives you an idea. You start in the mansion, you make your way down to the Batcave, you put the gear on. That's the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2 then is you getting out the Batcave on the trail of whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. You're basically, I think it must bolt into, and having never played and finished Arkham Knight was the recent, wasn't it? Yeah. So having never finished that, I think it links into that. Basically, people are poisoned with some sort of Joker infected blood. So I'm guessing that's linked to how the story pans out.
I haven't played it.
Carl probably able to tell us. So there's the bit that I thought was the most impressive from the VR point of view. And Chris, I'd actually like to get you to play it. I know you're not a gamer, but I think you'd really enjoy this because it doesn't require any gaming skill.
Okay,
but I know you'd like to be that man.
I would.
There is a certain.
Well, I was not a Joker as well, but yeah.
When you finish gearing up, there's a bit where you basically have to put the gauntlets on. You're just putting your hands out with the motion controllers and then sort of locking them into place. And then you have to pick up the cowl and put it on. And then when you put it on, this mirror comes down, and it's just you basically. It's Batman.
That's awesome.
It's just Batman, but wherever you move, he does. So you do this. His arms are going, his head's going, and you're just like, okay, I'm Batman now. That's really cool. And then all the mechanics are based around your utility belt. So on your utility belt, you've got a grappling hook for moving around the locations. So if you want to move around a scene, there's a certain place you can jump to, and then the grappling hook kind of brings things to you and moves you around. It's for interactions with things that are that bit further away. At no point do you walk. It's really odd. Okay. Everything is fixed in place. So everywhere you are fixed doing something, and then there's like a battle icon that you can click on to move you to that location to go and stand somewhere else and do something else. You never have to walk around or anything like that. It's all about interacting with the environment. And then you've got this sort of scanning device on your other hip, and then you've got your batarangs on the front of your belt. So the idea is that you don't actually have to look down to pick anything up. You just take these move controllers down to your waist, you push the little trigger to grip, and then you pick it up. And there is a certain bit where you get to practice with the batarangs. And I just stood in my living room, and God knows what I look like to anyone standing there watching me. But I'm in the Batcave, and I'm just flinging these batarangs out like the God knows what. But you could sort of do it with both hands. So you could you reach into your waist, pulling these batarangs off, you get this sort of satisfying click noise to let you know you've got it, and then I'm just flinging them around the room. That's when I hit the light thing. It's crazy. It's really
cool. You haven't hit Laura yet. Just stood behind you.
She apparently was in the doorway at one point laughing at me, and I didn't know she was there. But it's really good, and it's only about an hour long. And it did end before I realised that it got going. To be honest, I don't think in VR you realise how long you're in it for. I thought I'd been there 15 minutes, but it'd been an hour, and I finished it. And it was over. So it was over too quick. You can go back and play the Riddler missions, but it was really good. Brilliant tech demo. If you've got a VR headset, it's not a fully fledged game, but for 15 quid, it's worth it. And it's one of those things that inevitably, when I get you guys round, I'll strap you in. It's a great game to show you what it can do. There's a certain bit when you're in front of the console in the Batcave, and you can there's like a drawer, blood spinning sampling machine, a computer, and a tablet on there that you can pick up, and you can read the analytics for and put it back down. There's all these things around you that you can just interact with freely, and both hands can be doing something different, which sounds like a really stupid thing to say is impressive, because in real life we can do that, but in games you very rarely get to multitask. But in this you can like open a drawer, pick something up, put it in the drawer, close the drawer, and all these things have been done with different hands. It's just really, I found it really interesting to play, so I really liked it.
Cool, sounds good.
Also, my final one was Titanfall 2, so that actually launched today as we're recording, and my copy came through the post this morning, so I popped it in, installed it, and had a little blast on that this afternoon. Pleasantly surprised on 2 things I wanted to mention actually. I think we've talked about these in the past. First of all, Respawn Studios, who make the game, and I'm looking at Adam on this one because I know Chris is not going to have any interest. They have announced there will be no season pass whatsoever and no paid DLC for Titanfall 2. All DLC and all multiplayer modes and maps will be free to everyone.
That's good, because the last ones they brought out weren't brilliant add-ons.
No, there was a season pass for the last one, I think, and they're basically, I mean, it's clever marketing probably on their part, but they're positioning it as, and they made some sort of comment on Twitter, I can't remember exactly what the quote was, but it was something along the lines of, oh look how novel, the price you pay is for the whole game, sort of thing, having a dig at all the companies now that don't do that.
Is it as good as they're making out? Because obviously, I mean, in my opinion, the top shooting game FPS is Halo, and then below that you've got your Call of Duties and your Battlefields. And from what they've done with it, they're trying to pitch themselves at sort of Halo's level, aren't they?
Yeah. So I played about 2 hours of the single player campaign. It's only about 6 hours long, so I'm probably a third of the way through. Haven't played any multiplayer yet. Single player is brilliant. IGN gave it a score before they finalise it. They've said it's a 9 as long as there's no server problems, which means they think it's very good. But personally, the 2 hours I've played, it's ace. The shoot mechanics are great. The movement of the pilots are brilliant. So
I did play the beta build.
Have you too?
Released,
I didn't try it, so I stayed clear of it. But I did. What I found most engaging was being in the Titan was great. And I haven't done a huge amount of that in the single player yet. But being the pilot out on foot, you're really empowered. So like you've got the cloaking device. You move quickly. You can run around the walls. You can sort of slide into these sort of baseball slides into position, and then the melee attacks are really powerful. You can kill the sort of the enemy characters with one punch with a melee attack, and it's really empowering to sort of cloak, sprint into a place, sneak up behind someone, punch him out, run to his mate, knock him out, and then put the cloak breaks and you shoot the other guy down. It was just really satisfying action gameplay, and they've got some really good platforming sections in the single player. So they do make use of all the wall running mechanics and the double jumping to actually pose you almost like puzzle sequences where you're not actually shooting anyone, but you've just got to navigate from a certain point to somewhere quite high on the map, and you're like, well, I don't quite know how I'm going to get there, but let's see. Visually, it's really impressive. The graphics are really nice. The environments they've created are really cool. Hopefully, we're going to see more of that as the game unfolds. Spent a lot of it in sort of warehouse industrial stuff, but even that has been really good fun. I haven't touched the multiplayer. Obviously, I've only had it for 2 hours prior to coming to record this, but yeah, so far I'm really liking it. Whether I'll enjoy the multiplayer or not will depend on whether or not I can be competitive. Quite possible that I'll just get battered and won't enjoy it.
The thing is, the good thing about Titanfall, isn't it, is that there's bots on there as well. Yeah. So if you want to just go around, if you're not overly competitive and have trouble against the actual players, there are other people for you to go out and kill.
Yeah.
And
you
also
can be a good team playing Titanfall as well.
Yeah, and you don't have to be particularly good at the one-on-one shooting stuff, because you've got these big massive mech warriors that you can drop down, Titans, jump in and go around one-on-one against.
What I have learned is that you don't get as many Titan drops as you did before.
So yeah, I think when I was playing it, you've got one throughout the whole. I was saying like one, maybe two, you might get around, which is, I don't mind that as long as when they do come down, they last a bit longer, because the problem that got to a point in the last one where people sussed out how to bring them down so quickly that by the time you dropped it, got in, had a shot, some clever bugger who knew how to play the game was on your back, destroyed you before you even started. I never jumped in mine. I just set mine to cover.
Yeah, which kind of defeats the object of the game, doesn't it? If you're not, not going to get the best out of that mechanic. But so far, I really like it. And the other thing I was going to say about it, which really surprised me, I put it in when it first turned up to install it, thinking day one patch, that's going to be massive. And Gears of War was 11.5 gig the day it came out. And I ask you both to have a guess. How big do you think Titanfall's day one patch was?
As it's Microsoft.
It's not Microsoft.
Isn't it? Who's doing it this time?
It's on multi-platform, this one. It's on PlayStation as well. It's Respawn.
It was Microsoft who did...
It's the studio. I can't remember who's
Respawn did the first one, didn't they?
Yeah, but they did
Microsoft Studio.
They did it exclusively for Microsoft to help them shift the Xbox One at the time, but this one's multi-platform.
I'd say probably about 5-6 gig.
5 or 6 gig?
I'm going to go 7.
7 gig. 82 megabytes.
So what? So there's going to be lots of people packing in there, just like floor dropping and stuff.
No, so 82 meg. If you think that's what games used to be on the 360.
Yeah, but normally
if you had a day one
these patches come out to stop people doing
Yeah,
certain things.
But if you think about it, that game's been out and around for a while now. Gears 4 launched with 11.5 gig. Titanfall's launched with 82 meg.
Yeah.
That's a really small day one
Yeah,
patch.
no,
Gears of
it's
War's
fine,
not the
yeah.
worst. There are worse. I think there was a game. Was it? I want to say Assassin's Creed had a 20 or 30 gig patch because the game was basically burnt to disk, fundamentally broken. So the game they shipped was bust, and they had to patch it for everybody. But at 82 meg, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
I was waiting.
brilliant.
I put it
You
in,
just
clicked
getting on
install.
playing it.
I waited for that message that said there's an update. I was like, how big is it going to be? Oh, 82 meg. Fine, like that. Done in seconds. It was good to go, which is brilliant because it meant that I don't mind if further down the line there's a 1 or 2 gig patch because my console will do it in the background. I don't expect to buy a game day one, put it in, and have to download 10 or 11 gig of data. It should be on the disc. It shouldn't be broken.
Digital downloads.
Yeah,
That's what you need.
I was really surprised at that, and I think if you couple that with the whole no season pass thing, it felt to play like Call of Duty. Obviously, it does because it's what the people who made the good Call of Duties back when. So it's got a familiar play style. The whole new DLC thing's refreshing. The 82 meg on day one, I could just put it in and play it. That was brilliant. So far, I'm really pleased with it, and hopefully the multiplayer will stack up and it'll be good. And that's what I've done this week,
Cool.
which was quite a lot for a change. So I think, where do we go next? Do we want to do we do our
Go on.
Forza Horizon 3 review?
It leads well, doesn't it?
Okay. Little review on Forza Horizon. Basically, I love racing games. That's one of the main genres of games I play. That and FPSs. And I've played Forza since way back on the Xbox One when it first got released in 2005. I've had all the incarnations of it. Basically, for those that don't know, Forza generally gets released every 2 years. And on the back of that, they've started doing this Horizon series, which gets released on the intermittent years in between. So basically, they release a racing game every year, but you get the track version of Forza every 2 years, and then in between, you get this open world. Forza Horizon is basically, it's an open world racing game. You can't actually get out of the car, you're stuck in your car, but you drive to different points. You can drive pretty much anywhere on the map. The new map's absolutely huge. And you get lots of extras that you don't get in the normal track racing game. So there's lots of little extra bits you can do, which I'll talk about in a bit. The main change this year is the off-road racing and the inclusion of buggies. They did touch on it in Forza Horizon 2 in the form of DLC, but they've actually released it from the start on this one, which adds a lot to the game. It is really good fun when you get you and your mates all in these buggies, and like I said, you can go anywhere. So you can be in the middle of the forest, following waterfalls and all sorts of stuff downhill, and flying through up and down the mountains and everything. So it is really good. The game's set in Australia. The visuals of the country are amazing. These beaches, the outback, cityscapes. So there's this really broad sort of area. There's 4 main areas, each with their own specific type of game racing. So the outback, it's more dirt trails, off-roading sort of rally cars basically.
Yeah.
The foresty areas, you've got your buggies, which is more rough terrain, rocks, all that kind of thing, and then you've got the beach area and a city area, which you've got a bit more sort of tarmac racing, more traditional kind of stuff. The story mode, if you can call it a story mode, is at this year's Forza Festival. You are in charge of the festival. You come in as the boss, so you decide how the festival grows and which areas you grow into. How you level up each festival, and also the type of events that happen at the festival. And you can design your own races for other people to race against, so people can drop into the game. It's, as I said, open world, so you can either play solo, cooperatively, or just in an online free mode. And in the online free mode, you can create events for other people to race in. And basically you can do anything, the length of the laps, where you race, how you race, the cars you have to choose. So there's a lot that's gone into it. The graphics are amazing. Probably the best racing game I've seen on the Xbox. I know there are a couple on the PS4, which are right up there. Drive Club in one of them. but like I said, the graphics for the Xbox they're really good. You've also got day and night cycles, which is quite nice. When it literally cycles through every part of the day, so you've got dusk, dawn, sunrise, sunset, everything you could think of. It's got full weather cycles, so you get rain and fog as well as you're driving around. So 1 minute you can be in the middle of a race. If you've got quite a large race, one part of the track can be wet. Then as you get around to the rest of the track, it can be dry, and then you can be driving through fog. So there's quite a lot of changes as it goes on.
This is isn't Forza Horizon 3 one of the first to support the Xbox One S's Ultra HD mode as well?
I have no idea because I don't have the new Xbox.
I think it is. But it's Ultra HD.
I wouldn't be surprised judging by the visuals on it.
HDR as well, the high dynamic range, deeper blacks, lighter whites, all that rubbish.
Yeah, well, literally,
I'm sure it was Gears of War 4 and Forza Horizon 3 were the first two that were going to support it.
Because I wouldn't be, like I say, I wouldn't be surprised. The visuals and the way everything moulds into each other is absolutely brilliant. And you can sit there and actually enjoy driving around. It's nice to drive from point to point. You can do fast travel, but it's nice to actually just get in your car and drive it from point to point. There's lots of different types of events. You've got obviously the off-road racing, which I mentioned, torrent racing. You've also got drift zones. So as you go around the map, there'll be one flag to start it, one flag to finish it, and you just get as many drift points as you can between the 2 points. And obviously all that goes onto an online scoreboard, and you can see what your mates have done, what you've done, what the rest of the community is doing. So there's lots and lots of content to keep you going. Sign jumps. So basically there'll be a point on the map which has got 2 danger signs, and your whole idea is to hit it as fast as you can to fly as far as you can, and it just records your final landing point and how far you actually got. Huge car list as you expect from Forza. And this year they've introduced Rocket Bunny kits. Now I don't expect you guys to know what those are.
A Rocket Bunny kit?
Rocket Bunny kits, yeah. Basically what it is, it's a wide arch kit for cars. So Rocket Bunny are a make.
Right.
And they make wide arch body kits. There's a specific type of wide arch body kit. And there's so many cars in the game that you can fit those to. Been a long-term fan of Forza. It's something that the community's been asking for a while, to have wide arch body kits, and this is the first game they've actually put them into. And as I said, there's a certain amount of cars in the list. It's not massive. I think it's about 30 odd cars that you can actually fit these kits to, but they're well-known cars that you want to add them onto.
Do you still have the ability to do, in fact I'm not sure it's ever been in Horizon, I know in mainline Forza you had that ability to literally paint a car.
Yeah.
I spent far too long, I think, in Forza 3
yeah.
recreating the album art from the Gorillas. But can you do that on Horizon, or is that
Yeah,
purely for Forza?
no, that's still there. You've got you've got all like the painting sides of it. You've got all the modification of the cars, the bumpers, engine swaps. You basically can change, anything on the car that you want to change. You've got your own shop front now, so if you make designs you can have your own shop front, you can sell your designs to other community members. The auction house is back, so people on there auctioning cars off, which is quite nice because I got a Ferrari earlier that was supposed to be like 350 grand. I managed to get it for 3 grand just because nobody else bidded on it, so I saved myself quite a bit of money.
So you said you've gone over level 100.
Yeah.
How many hours do you think you've sunk into it?
I'd say probably around 12 to 13 at the moment.
That's not too bad, so you get to the levels quite quickly.
Yeah.
Is there a cap?
What's just about to ask that, yeah.
The highest I've seen so far is 599.
Okay, so actually, when you said over level 100, I was like, wow. Yeah. But actually, that's probably not that big an investment.
There's people that have put a lot of time. I mean, it's only been about 4 weeks.
Yeah, something like that, isn't it?
And I was away for a week of that. It's only 3 weeks. I've put in about 12 hours worth, I think.
It did interest me, and I did very nearly buy it from Amazon. Then I reminded myself that I've still got Forza Horizon 2 in my drawer at home that I've done about maybe an hour and a half on.
It's better than Forza Horizon 2. Forza Horizon 2, sort of like you, I played it for a bit and then got bored.
I didn't get bored. Olivia arrived. And then it went in the drawer for 12 months. I'd like to give it a go. I really enjoyed that. I mean, the opening. What I found refreshing about Horizon 2 versus the other Forza games. I mean, I'm not a driving game person, as you know. But with Forza Horizon, like you said, it was just a madness. I particularly remember bombing through a field and bashing down fences and straw and being chased across this field where it was just so hectic. I didn't know what was going to go on, and it was real seat to your pants stuff. You were expecting to crash, and when you didn't, there was that real rush of adrenaline. Yeah. And the other thing I remember was racing around it felt like it was maybe Italy, was it Europe, I think, Horizon 2?
It was set around Europe, different parts.
Racing the airplanes with the smoke trails, and you had to try and race them up a mountain. You could see them keep going back past you. That was really cool. Yeah. So I've seen videos of Horizon 3. It looks amazing. So I'd love to try it.
It was like I said, it's a lot better than Horizon 2. The online modes are brilliant. I mean, I've got a few lads from work that I play with. Luckily they're quite into their car games as well. So you can join your mates, just cruise around, or you can complete the story in like a co-op style where you all go to a specific race it, and then obviously see what happens, who comes first, second, third, fourth. But obviously you've got the computer players in there as well. The driver tire system's back, so even if you're playing it without knowing anybody, if you ramp the difficulty up, it can be quite challenging. And
you can still, so that's the thing with your friends don't have to be online, but you can play there.
Yeah, the game learns your drive style.
Yeah, I've had a few people tell me before that mine is an aggressive driver.
Yeah, randomly just drives into the side of you for no reason. Quite
violent. But I have played the newer games.
It does do that.
So that driver tire has evolved, will continue to from I think Forza 5, where we'll put those hours in. So it's quite funny that's still causing people problems.
What's Carl like?
Just driving around into it.
Carl's quite good driving games. Even AJ both sort of they know what the racing line is. Whereas I'll just bolt into a corner. If I can't brake in time, I'll use you as the barrier. So I just sideswipe people. So that's how I drive. Not in real life, I should.
No, say.
Whereas I do drive like that in real life now. These various game modes that they've also included as well. So you've got like cat and mouse, infected tag basically. A few other things. You've obviously got the circuit racing, the off-road racing, and the drag racing's back. Drag racing is where literally me and the lads from work have spent most of our time. You just go in there, we're giving each other like targets of what to do. So you've got to pick a Japanese car that can't be higher than A class, and we just see who wins in a drag flat out 1 mile drag race, or you can just go extreme and have like Connie's eggs, Ferraris and stuff, so who's the fastest. I actually went online and found out what the fastest car was that other people had built. So use that car to beat everybody. And then
sort of the old man yours back in the day.
And then,
it's like Ganondorf in Zelda all over again.
And then they subsequently obviously knew what car I'd used, and now everyone's using it, and it's
It's one of those things, isn't it? That I think it's a common thing in a lot of games where I think FIFA's a good example where you want to go into Ultimate Team and see a variety of teams. You want to see people using different cars, like in the Forza example. But inevitably people latch on to the obvious ones, the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, the Koenigsegg's, the Ferraris and stuff. And it just becomes, every race is the same. You want to see someone come in there, and you want a game that allows someone to develop a car to a point where,
Find the Leicester City, Adam, that's what you're saying.
Basically, we want to try. It would be really nice if a game allowed you to develop a team to a point where you could have a
polo.
You
could
have a polo. Can you imagine that, a polo that could be
that's an unusual thing actually that I hadn't put in these. There's no VWs in the game.
Oh, rubbish.
All the other Forzas have had VWs. There's not one in this game.
I wonder if
that licensing.
So I'm guessing it's a licensing thing. Whether
is it Audi's?
Audi's only,
because they're owned by the same
just
group,
VW.
aren't they, I think?
So whether it's something to do with maybe their emissions thing, that the issue they had with that, or whether Gran Turismo being released has got a VW on the front of it, and they've signed with them, but I don't know. The radio stations, as you know, one of the main things about Forza, the talk in the background. The modern songs on it are brilliant. You've also got the older radio stations with playing classics and things like that. Well, they call modern classics and stuff with stuff that I used to go out to.
I was going to say, that's the problem, isn't it? All the stuff that we consider to be our era is now classic, which is really depressing.
They've introduced what are called drift songs, where basically you get double XP while the drift song is playing. So you used to get your skill chains before for doing burnouts, drifting, 180s, 360s, all that sort of stuff. All that's still there, but obviously you can double your points now when these drift songs are playing at certain points. And they've included a streaming device to it, you have to pay for it, and I'm guessing it's an actual streaming company. Like I forgot to get the actual name of it, but you can pay so much a month, and you can build your own playlists if you want from actual songs. So you can choose anything. Also, if you don't want to do that and you've got the songs on your hard drive, you can pick a playlist from that as well, so you can put your own music on there to drive along to. Barn finds have also returned, so there's 15 hidden cars around the track, around the whole island, or around Australia. Basically you just have to drive around trying to locate them, which is all good fun, especially it gives you like a huge area of where it could be, and then you spend ages just driving backwards and forwards trying to find these barn finds, especially when like it gets dark and they're in the middle of a cornfield with just your headlights and you can't see nothing around you, and you're literally just pointing your lights in every direction to try and see the slightest hint of a barn in the distance. And as you mentioned earlier about the aeroplanes, the special events are back. There's 5 different special events again, same as with all of them. I won't give too much away for the people that are actually going to buy it and play it, but they are good fun. There is a plane in it that you race against. And I think that's pretty much it. The only other thing to look forward to, obviously, with it is, as with all Forza games, there'll probably be lots of DLC. They've been at regular car packs.
Can I ask you actually, because if you had Forza Horizon 2, did you get the Fast and Furious 7 DLC that they brought out?
Yes.
I never got around to playing it, so I'm downloaded it, I never played it.
Yeah.
Was it any good?
Yeah, it was good, yeah. They basically had all the cars from Fast and Furious, not just Fast and Furious 7, but also from the older ones.
Can you have Dom's black thing?
Yeah, the Chargers in there.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to go.
You had the Skyline, Paul Walker Skyline. Also his Eclipse, the green one that he started off the original Fast and Furious in, was there. And that actually carried over to Forza 6, so you could have those on the track as well, which was quite good fun. His Skyline was in it, the silver Skyline from Fast and Furious 2.
I must put that in and try it. I've got them on my hard drive waiting to be played.
But yeah, all in all, absolutely brilliant game.
What would you rate it if you, albeit you've only played it for 12 hours, but if you had to give it a star rating out of 5?
Solid 4.
Good start.
Yeah, definitely worth a buy if you're into your racing games. Even if you're not and you just like open world games, it's got a lot in there, a lot of content for people to play, a lot of things for people to get on with.
I've heard a lot of people say that it's the driving game for non-driving people.
Yeah,
that's part of the reason why I think I
it's
probably enjoy it.
It's not how, so a lot of people think Forza, it's going to be like Gran Turismo, really realistic, and it's not. It's very much set towards the arcade style. Yeah. You can take corners in the car, they get 240 mile an hour. Now, in real life, if you turn that corner at 240 mile an hour, you're just going to go straight on. You ain't going to turn the corner. But it is very arcadey, and it does have an arcade feel to it, which is nice. It makes a good change from because all the lads at work as well, we play Forza 6, so it's a good chance to have a bit of fun and to get away from all that serious setting your car up properly and.
Does it support the wheels in the same way that the Forzas do?
Yeah, exactly the same. All the wheels work before it. Unfortunately, I don't actually have a wheel.
That seems like an obvious omission for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's more that having somewhere to clamp them onto is the issue, because I play in front of my TV in the living room. I know they make these stands now that you can.
With the frames you can sit in. Yeah, I mean, if you've got
not even that you sit in there, you can get ones that actually fold out in front of you.
Oh right.
So
I haven't seen those.
Yeah, so you have your pedals on the floor in your steering wheel, but it's like a Z frame that just sits in front of wherever you're sitting in your house. So they're about 100 quid.
You're not tempted?
So I am tempted. But then you're looking at 250 quid for a decent steering wheel set as well.
Get a PS4 one so we can do Gran Turismo with the PSVR headset. Yeah. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I need one that works on both would be handy.
Well, I checked that because you said the other week the Thrustmaster works on both, and I went into game and they don't. They sell one for the PS4 and they do one for. Interestingly, they do one for the PS4/PC and one for the Xbox One.
Really, even though the PC and the Xbox One,
in theory, should work together, but for whatever reason they don't. It might be worth doing some reading to see if that's just a bad marketing trick, or whether there genuinely is something between the two that means they don't work together.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm pretty sure I've seen guys, unless they've literally had both two lots of steering wheels.
Unless it's something stupid like button styling, and it's just the fact that one's got A, B, X, Y, and one's got square, triangle, circle, square, X.
But theoretically, they've got the same amount of buttons, haven't they? So you should
it's just whether it's a visual thing.
Yeah. But like I said, I have seen guys play on these Thrustmasters on both consoles. So whether
Worth
they've got
checking out.
two...
It might just purely be a
stream
boxing
rules,
thing to help
but-
people work out and buy the right thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just branded in a certain way.
Yeah,
One's got the PlayStation button mapping, one's got Xbox, I don't know.
worth having a look at. But yeah, all in all, it's a brilliant game. Been good fun, enjoying playing it. Well, still am enjoying playing it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I think it's time then.
Chris has been to the cinema and seen at least one movie. But what was it? And what did he think of it? This is Chris's movie review.
So, I saw a remake of The Magnificent Seven with Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, and is it Ethan Hawke? To name a few people within him, yeah. And I'll be honest, I went into it with pretty low expectations in the sense that the reviews, although I tried not to read reviews in detail for fear of spoiling plot, etc., I do normally get a bit of a temperature check from, star ratings, etc., from certain sources. And it's fair to say it was a fairly muted response from what I saw in reviews, which proved good, helpful, because it lowered my expectations going into it. So actually, I really enjoyed it. It was really entertaining. I thought it set the scene early on really well, in the sense that it made you hate the bad guy, but not in a over the top way, but just in a you generally wanted to see them go, lose. And I thought Denzel was really good without wanting to. What I thought was really good about his performance for me, he was really captivating as he normally is, and really relatable. But he didn't feel to me like he tried to steal the film and dominate the film. It felt like he was, as a lead actor, to me watching it, it felt like he was allowing everyone to have their sort of time. So it felt like every character got a really sort of cool moment and cool bits of dialogue, which I thought was really refreshing, because I think a lot of these films where there's usually, if you've got one standout star amongst even a bigger list pool of stars, you usually tend to find they dominate with the key moments in the film, whereas that wasn't the case at all. And I just really enjoyed it. A bit of a throwback to the old westerns. I quite enjoyed it.
We went to see it together, didn't we?
We did,
So
yeah.
I really liked all the seven had their moments.
Yeah.
I thought the guy who plays Kingpin in Daredevil, his name escapes me.
Yes, he was excellent. Vincent did something. Yeah, I can't pronounce it.
He was really good, even
He
though
was.
his character was relatively small.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt was. I'm
Excellent.
a bit of a man crush on Chris Pratt. I think he's really cool. I haven't seen a film I've disliked him in. And it helps that he's obviously in the Marvel Universe and he's in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, he's got the
Or
Star
Jurassic
Wars,
World.
doesn't he?
Yeah, so I think he was really good in it. I thought the sort of final battle, without spoiling anything, was really good.
Yeah.
And it didn't go the way you might expect the film to go.
Not at all.
Which was really, really pleasing. At the same, it was sad because there were parts of that I didn't like, but not because I didn't like the film, but because I didn't want that to happen to the people it happened to. So it was really good, without giving anything away. I thought it was a really good film.
It was, yeah. And it's only about 2 hours, wasn't it? So it didn't feel like it
wasn't overly long.
a long use of time.
And like you said, it was a surprise, wasn't it? It was one of those ones that I think it's one of the few films I've been to this year where I personally haven't seen or read up on loads of stuff or seen good or bad comments. I mean, the few films that I've seen selectively with things like X-Men Apocalypse, which didn't really do it for me. It was all right. Civil War was great. Suicide Squad didn't really do it for me. Batman vs Superman didn't really do it for me. They were all big films, heavily hyped, but didn't quite reach the stature I'd hoped they would. Whereas actually it was nice to go into a film with no expectations, as you said, and come out, I guess, relatively pleased with the outcome.
Yeah, it was good. Definitely one. I think it's probably finished. It's running the cinema now, so definitely one to catch on DVD for people that haven't seen it.
It was an easy watch.
Sky
It was an easy watch, wasn't it? What would
Yeah.
you give it?
I'm actually going to give it 4 stars.
4 stars?
Yeah, and that's, I think, certainly higher than the average, I think, of the
It's
major
nearly
sort
as
of
good as
review.
Oasis.
Nearly as good as Oasis. Nothing deserves that level of precedent. But
Did you give
no,
that
it was good.
5?
I did. I gave it 5 for fans of Oasis, 4 for non-fans.
I
Because
did hear on the radio that that's apparently they're expecting that to shift a big number in DVD sales when it goes.
it wouldn't
I'm looking
surprise
forward to
me.
watching it, so hopefully it'll be on Cody.
Wouldn't surprise
I
me.
have
at all.
no ambition to watch it. 4 stars, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And because I don't have a jingle for book reviews, you also have a book to review, don't you?
I know how cultured of me. I very rarely read, actually.
I'm well learned.
You'll know. I know how to read proper reading. So I read Ready Player One, which you may remember was discussed, I think, in podcast 1. And I mistakenly thought it was a computer game that was due to be a film, to be corrected quite rightly by Carl. And then on the back of that conversation, he then decided to fish out the book and lend it to me very kindly. And I went to Madrid a couple of weeks ago on my own, and conscious that it was useful time in terms of downtime to have time to read, and also it's quite a useful tool, isn't it, if you're on holiday? You always feel a bit more relaxed and laid back, so it just lends itself to reading. So brief synopsis on the story. So it's set in the year 2044, and the context is that there's an energy crisis that's been caused by global warming, and it's also there's been heavy social problems and a severe economic recession. And amidst all that, there is something called the Oasis, which obviously piqued my interest, which is a virtual world that can be accessed using a VR headset, which is very topical considering your recent purchase and your review earlier, Batman, and also some sort of gloves that I believe in the book give you some sort of
so it's
the equivalent of feel and touch.
It's called haptic feedback.
There we go. Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
And this sort of oasis, this environment, this virtual world has become a big deal in the year 2044, to such a degree that in terms of becoming a tool for learning, it's almost taken over classroom learning. Certainly in the sense that because there's a recession, it's harder for people to get access to schooling, etc. And there is it was created by a character called James Halliday in the book, who, to my mind, is very much a Steve Jobs influenced character.
It's funny to say that. I pictured Steve Jobs when I read
down to the turtleneck and everything.
They do describe him earlier on. They make the reference to Steve Jobs and Wozniak, but even so, the more you read about him, he's basically Steve Jobs, isn't it?
Absolutely. So this character, James Halliday, has created this environment, and just prior to his death, he takes steps to ensure that, as his last will and testament, if you like, he creates this competition within this Oasis virtual environment, where it's effectively like a treasure hunt, for want of a better term, where there's a series of challenges and anyone can compete, has access to this environment, and whoever wins the contest actually unlocks his vast fortune, and then I think owns the licensing rights.
They take ownership of the Oasis.
Yeah, and because it's so lucrative, it of course attracts the gaze of some less reputable associations.
I thought you looked at me. Attracts the gaze.
That's what you said as well.
That's an interesting term.
It's open to all, so there's the classic concept of good versus evil.
I'm just trying to stop short of doing an impression. Carry on.
No, I'm grateful you did. So the central character in the book, and the perspective you sort of view the world from, is sort of an orphan who's grown up in a trailer park. They're almost trailer villages, the way they describe the book, don't they? It's because the recession's hit so hard.
They're caravan towers, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's basically they describe it's
caravans,
high rise.
Caravans, exactly, which is quite a stark image when you read the book and you picture it.
That's why they're filming it in Birmingham.
Yeah, the worst of the worst.
Blow over quite easily.
They're all solid and built.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pictures of like loads of caravans, just big wind comes along and just sends them all flying.
Yeah, that could happen actually. But no, in the context of the book, so Halliday set all these clues in order to unlock certain challenges and then ultimately win the game. And you learn over the course of the book that Halliday had a real love for all things 1980s in terms of the culture, in terms of things like computer games, TV shows and movies. And the reason being he was slightly socially awkward, but he grew up in that sort of phase, so there's a lot of nostalgia from his perspective. So it's in terms of the concept, I thought it was really interesting because the central character has best friends who you learn lots about over the course of the book, but he's never actually met them or seen them in the flesh until very near the end. I'm not giving too much away, because he's only really known their virtual avatar characters within this Oasis environment. It's a really interesting concept that you have this bond and close attachment to someone, but you've never met them in the flesh. So as a reader, that's really interesting because it's obviously the world isn't that evolved in terms of virtual reality to that degree.
That still does happen.
So,
though.
I was going to say, I don't think
I was in a clan with a lot of guys and girls. Used to play loads of Call of Duty and stuff for a good year and a half, and then we all decided to meet one Halloween. Everyone came up to Birmingham, different places, and it was actually a really good night out. There was no awkwardness or anything because as soon as you got there and you heard the person's voice, you already knew them. These are people you've had conversations with, people whose lives you know, or knew about their kids, knew about their work and everything. And it's quite, like you say, quite a surreal experience to see these people face to face, but you already know nothing about them.
You need to read this book then, quite frankly.
I think you
really
enjoy the
relate
book,
to
actually.
it.
It's really good.
Yeah, really relate to it. So yeah, in terms of general comments, it was a really good plot. There's a really fabulously evil corporation that's trying to unlock the clues by any means necessary, and because they're painted in a really descriptive way, it increases your empathy and your support for the central character, which you always want to root for the good guy, really, don't you, in a novel? And if you're not doing that, then it's not a very good book. What you do. The main character's really relatable, and you sympathise a lot with his plight, so you end up really rooting for him. I really don't read a lot at all, to put it mildly, but I was really engrossed and actually read it within 2 days, albeit in the context of a holiday.
Which is interesting because a lot of that source material is stuff you don't have an interest in.
Exactly, yeah. So
a lot about sort of technology, a lot sort of sci-fi fantasy, but obviously heavily rooted in gaming.
Exactly.
Which is why I was quite interested to see what you think of it.
Well, I really enjoyed the ending, which is always pivotal to a book or film, I think.
Yeah.
I thought the payoff was really good. And I loved all the 80s movies references, even albeit I didn't quite, obviously a lot of the gaming references went over my head somewhat, but that didn't ruin it for me at all.
And I imagine, Carl, because a lot of those games were before we were games.
Yeah, true.
So a lot of the things they refer to in that book are things that I have a loose awareness of, but never played.
Maybe know the name.
There were probably 5 or 10. There were a generation of gaming before I was a gamer. There were a lot of those things were pre-NES, weren't there? There were things like Atari games and stuff like that. So
Centipede.
Yeah, there were things like that that I had no idea about. So I kind of like you, just went along the journey and just made my own, I guess, mind of what that looked like.
So I'm on the back of it. I'm really excited for the film now, which I think's out next year. They're filming it.
So I have a
next year,
question
aren't
for you.
Yeah.
Can this film possibly be a single film, or does it need to be at least 2, if not 3 films?
I think if they were smart, they could make a really good 3-hour / 2.5-hour film out of it, because it didn't feel like reading it that it was so exhaustive in its content in terms of the plot that you couldn't, with a bit of careful snipping and editing, actually make it into one story for me.
Do you reckon?
I feel like it'd be dragging it out to make it 3 films, for example. Maybe 2. Maybe 2.
2 I'd like to
maybe
see.
split it. I don't know where the clear distinction would be.
Split it after the first Easter egg.
Okay.
If it was me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that takes a long time to get to.
It does, yeah. There's a lot of backstory, which I'm not sure how you quite get across in a film unless you do a few montagey type.
I think there's enough about that character though, that the central character, that you could do quite a lot with him, because he goes through quite a lot of transformations, doesn't he? I mean,
absolutely.
The sort of second act isn't, which is why I think it could be 2 films without giving the story away. Post the first part of the challenge being completed, his life changes dramatically. So I think you could sort of end one film with that final victory of the first key, and then start the second film a little bit further down the line with some sort of a montage of what happened since where we're at now and the quest for the second and the third, which seem to more closely follow each other.
Yeah.
But there's also stuff that he does in that sort of second act, if you like, where I think you could do quite some interesting things in the movies, like the bit where he goes and spends time with the bad guys.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting.
That was a really interesting bit.
Yeah, it was. It was really interesting that Spielberg is directing, bearing in mind he's almost like the archetypal 1980s director. So it's interesting to me that someone who's a big part of that culture and that era is actually directing it.
And you saw what we said in episode 1, we talked about the licensing side of that film being a challenge. Having now read it, can you see why we thought
massively?
that might be a problem?
Yeah, 100%.
And getting all those licenses
It feels
that
like
to could be such a huge
if those
challenge.
companies are smart, I feel like they'll benefit from being a part of
There's
the
nothing
film.
to be lost, is there really?
No, it's advertising, but you're right. As we know from Marvel and Sony and all that sort of stuff with X-Men, etc., it's complicated.
Star rating?
As a book, 5.
Fine. Wow.
I actually I don't really read much, so it just really impressed me that I was that into a book that I read in 2 days. So.
But that's fair. I mean, I didn't read it. I listened to the audiobook, which was actually voiced by Will Wheaton.
Wow.
And it was actually quite good. Like
he references himself then, doesn't he?
He has to at one point, which is a bit odd.
Yeah.
But it was really good. Cool.
Read it, AJ, definitely.
My sort of topic for the episode was actually more an announcement we had this week rather than a review or something I've seen or done. There was 2 announcements this week, 2 big ones. Red Dead Redemption was announced. Red Dead Redemption 2 was announced by
Red Dead's
Rockstar.
probably the best Rockstar game. I would say
GTA.
I'd say it's better
So I've
than
never
GTA.
I've never played it. So I've got it on my shelf. It's still got the cellophane on it.
Really?
I haven't got
Get
it
it out and play it.
I do want
it
to.
still plays well. It is probably the best game.
There's a massive amount of love for that game. People have been waiting for a long time. It was
it's been a long time coming.
Finally announced. They did it really clear. You'll probably appreciate from a marketing perspective how they did this. So
was
people have
it?
been
2009?
good few years, not that long, I don't think. Early in the 10s, I think.
You reckon?
I think so.
Long time ago, isn't it?
But so this game has been muted for a long time. There's been lots of rumours about it coming, but Rockstar have never confirmed it. And then they took to their Twitter account and released an image. It was just a red background with their logo on it, and everyone went mad. This is it. They're going to announce it. They're finally going to announce it. Oh my god! And then the next day they released what turned out to be the second part of the image, which was it was kind of like a horizon line with the sun rising or possibly setting, with 7 silhouettes of cowboys and making their move across this horizon line. And of course, everyone starts to go, "That's it. That's Red Dead Redemption 2," and which obviously it was going to be.
For Chris, who doesn't probably know, it's a Wild West.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a Western game. And then the third day, they actually announced that yes, it's coming. This is what it's going to be called. Here's a trailer, and it's due next year.
It was 2010. It was released May 2010.
2017, the next one's coming out. Looks amazing visually. I'm going to have to go back and play Red Dead. I think now Red Dead Redemption on the...
Yeah,
you do it on stream.
You need to play it, especially as it's going to carry on from that original game as well.
Set in the same world, but it's without having the ending of the game spoiled for me, I'm under the impression it can't necessarily follow straight on, so I'm looking forward to seeing why that is. I have an inkling from what I've heard without spoiling anything. So that was one of the announcements, not the one I wanted to focus on though, because I think everyone thought that was going to be it. You couldn't possibly eclipse that, and then Nintendo decided to drop their 3-minute trailer to announce what the NX is now going to be called.
Which looks absolutely amazing.
And confirmed all the rumours. It's the Switch. It's a Nintendo Switch. Is its name. As all the rumours that went around before it came out suggested to. That was well done, Chris.
I know,
smooth. There was a lot of rumours about it being a hybrid console. You could take on the move, but also dock at home. That's exactly what it is. It's basically a tablet.
It looks absolutely brilliant.
Basically a tablet.
Depending on, obviously, I don't think the games he's going to be able to run are going to be what PlayStation and Xbox are trying to do. But can you imagine, like, just sat around here, go to your mate's house, all take your own screen, playing Mario Kart?
I finished watching the trailer and had a massive smile on my face and almost instantly said I want that for my birthday next year. Have then since listened to a few things and read about people's views, and there are some interesting views on it. A couple of things I thought I'd share with you for thought. So, first of all, fundamentally, it is just a tablet. that you can bolt controllers onto. So this already exists. The company who are making the tech for Nintendo is Nvidia.
Yeah.
The device is called the Tegra, and it's out there. You can buy one today.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't obviously buy the Switch, but
Yeah.
you can buy their tablet with the game tablet.
Yeah.
Now the battery life on that thing is not supposed to be very good.
No, it's about
And
an
there's
hour
a
and a
lot of
half.
people muting 2 to 3 hours is what this thing could do. Now obviously Nintendo haven't confirmed anything. It could be that it's way above that. If it's going to be a genuinely sustainable handheld, it's got to do more than 2 or 3 hours.
8 hours,
No one's
I'd
going to
say.
buy it.
8
Yeah, no
hours
one's
it's
going to
gotta
buy
do.
it. It's a completely different animal to trying to run. I mean, for me, if you can get 10 hours out of an iPad, you should be able to get this thing to do half that. Really. Appreciate that the gaming processing is a bit higher. Visually, they showed off in the trailer, although no one will confirm it. We've seen what looks like NBA 2K17. It doesn't interest me in the slightest. Zelda is supposed to be amazing. Everyone who's played that said it's amazing, but it's also playable on the Wii U.
Yeah.
So you don't need a Switch to play that. Skyrim was the other one, the
Yeah,
remastered
there's a
version, which you
Skyrim
can
on
play on the PS4 and the Xbox One. So if it's if it is the remastered version, does that mean it has the same processing power as those two consoles? I can't see it.
I know, because I see with remastered stuff, it's just polishing up the graphics in it, so they don't.
They're not as hardcore.
Yeah, it's not going to have the same sort of
But if
processing
you,
power. I wouldn't have thought as
if you
an Xbox
consider
or
that the
PlayStation.
Xbox One and the PS4 are now 3 years old.
3 years.
This is the third Christmas
third
coming
year,
up.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be as powerful as the Scorpio or the PS Pro, probably PS4 Pro. It possibly could be up there with the Xbox One and the PS4.
It just seems a lot for a tablet to be able to have that sort of, especially if it's movable.
Yeah.
You think the size of the Xbox and the PlayStation, there's a reason why they are that size.
It'll be interesting to see if the dock gives anything to the console.
And also as well, from what I've seen, it looks like it's cartridge based.
It is cartridge based.
So as
Definitely
we
cartridge
know, you can't get 128 gigabytes of information on a cartridge.
Yes, you can.
Really? Do you reckon that's what they do though with the price of these things?
Well, this is the thing this is what they've not confirmed, isn't it? I mean, the cost is more than putting stuff onto a disc, but they'll be able to buy in bulk, so it's not going to be, it's not going to be that significantly different to what they've done with the DS. It'll be interesting. They're more reliable. They're faster on a solid state drive, which will make a big difference. I love the controls idea.
The thing that got me, I mean, aside from all this, is the way you can play with your mates. Just, you can all just take out your house, go around your mate's house, take it on holiday with you, set it up in front of you and just play.
It does look more accessible, but I think that's what Nintendo's always been, hasn't it?
Yeah.
If you came round to my house today and put the Wii U on, or with Jules, I know you've got one, if you get the gamepads out and play like Smash Brothers or Mario Kart, it still plays as well as it ever did back in the day on the N64. I do like the fact that it looks quite simple as well, and I'm not aiming this at you, Chris, when I say this, but as a non-gamer, it feels like the sort of thing that we could put a controller in your hands, given that the examples of the two controllers being split to become two single pads instead of one unified pad suggests that the game's going to be fairly simple. Mm-hmm. It's going to have an analog stick and a couple of buttons. Well, that feels like something that you could get anyone into.
You're just talking about the Wii U though. Basically, it is like the Wii U pad, just slightly better. Because with my little one plays Mario and Mario Kart all the time and stuff, and the beauty of the Wii U is that I can be playing or watching what I want to watch, and she'll sit there with her Wii U pad playing the full game. Obviously, it's not going to be as mobile, but she can still walk around the house playing.
The difference, I suppose, is that the Wii U's battery life, the gamepad's a lot higher than what this is likely to be.
Yeah. So it sort of
will they be able to play it as freely, or will they going to have to dock it at some point and say, Daddy, get off the television?
Yeah.
Be interesting to see how that works. I mean, I think it looks really good. I am excited. I still want one. The only thing that's put me off a little bit is that the latest announcement is that it's a 720p display, so it's not even proper HD. So on the go, it's not a full HD screen.
The Wii U wasn't full HD, was it? I don't
The
believe.
Wii U gamepad wasn't. The gamepad was only 480p, but the console was 1080p, and I assume that with the dock it will be. But you consider that PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One are now touting 4K will be upscaled on the PlayStation 4. It's not. They're just not keeping pace with it.
Stuff behind again.
I think they've accepted that that's the way they want to be, isn't it? The one thing I did like from the trailer, there was no kids in the trailer.
Yeah.
So it's instead of trying to pitch this as the family thing that you're all going to gather around, they've tried to make it sound like you're going to put down your basketball on the court and go and pick up this to play the basketball, but you're not. That's a weird example, but I did like the fact they're marketing it at adults.
But could you imagine Pokemon on it?
That would be good. I do like. That's one of the things I do like the idea. Like you can take that out, go on the move.
Because there'd be no reason why they couldn't put it. Because if they're counting it as a mobile device now, is it going to replace?
Yeah. The Pokemon company have already confirmed they're going to release for the NX.
Yeah. So
before it was confirmed what it was.
So there you go. So you can have a proper Pokemon game hopefully on the move. And does that mean they're going to stop making their DSs? If they're toting this as a mobile device you can use anywhere and take anywhere.
People have asked the question: is it going to kill the DS? Because it's due for a refresh. Are they going to bother now? What will the price be? What do you think? The question for you now. What do you think the price is going to be?
Looking at iPads and the way that they are with their screen resolution and the stuff that's in there, with the pads as well and the dock, I reckon you're going to look at least £400 starting price.
Possibly. I mean, the only thing I've got to add, because obviously I don't know a lot about gaming, but purely, I was really interested in that advert from going back to, totally back to my degree in marketing really. So as a piece of marketing, I think it's absolutely outstanding. And the reason for that is it takes you back to that age-old conundrum in terms of what you're trying to achieve from marketing, of creating a need in the eyes of the customer for the product. And I thought the environment they showed you and the variety of social situations that they kind of broadcast and the different demographics, albeit like you say all adults, but the different demographics, males and females, etc. I thought it made it look accessible to all people, if that makes sense. And to me, it feels like there's hallmarks of the iPad, which I still maintain isn't a product everyone needed, but it was through brilliant marketing, it's become something everyone feels like they need to have. And I feel like you can translate that to gaming. So I personally think it'd be really successful if that's a sign of the things to come in terms of how they're going to market it. I think they'll create that buzz about it and that feel for that just looks so convenient to my lifestyle. I think that's interesting.
What's good from a gamer's perspective as well. Nintendo is rarely your main console. Very few people own the Nintendo as their primary console.
No, it's a secondary.
If you're a gamer, you have an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4, generally speaking, and then you have the Nintendo thing in the background. Like you and I have both got the Xboxes. That was our primary purchase. Then I had the Nintendo. Then I got the PS4 later on, and you just got yours.
Yeah, it's just in the same
thing. So it's like Nintendo kind of knows it's never going to be the primary gaming console that everyone buys. They're not going to recreate the success of the Wii. The Wii was a complete fluke and a phenomenon. It was just ridiculous. Their sales have been declining console on console, with the exception of the Wii, which spiked it ridiculously. But then the Wii U was one of their worst selling consoles. So in contrast, they've had some luck in the past, and they've had some horror shows. I think this will do well. I think
they need to go, from what like the videos that I've seen, they are using third parties to actually make the proper games that people want to play.
It would be interesting though, because the Wii U launched with a lot of third-party support, and what they did was they brought a lot of old games over, and then there was no follow-on support for that second wave. Whereas this
it was too different, wasn't it, with the Wii U having the control pad that was well out there, and this is more. We've
already seen the gamepad, which is very traditional.
Yeah.
So that suggests that they're going.
It's 4 buttons, 2 analogs, and a.
I mean, I still don't care. I'm not going to buy that to play Titanfall or Call of Duty. No. I'm going to buy those on my primary console. I buy my Nintendo for the exclusives. I want Mario. I want Zelda. I want Mario Kart. I want Smash Brothers. All that sort of stuff. Star Fox. The last one's crap apparently. I mean, one thing that I did like was the fact that there was a Mario game shown at the beginning.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not a port of something else. Hopefully it's a new Mario game. Will we see it on release? Probably not. I think we'll see Mario come after the console's release. I think Zelda is due to come out around the time of the release, if not at release. But I might be wrong with that. But I was really interested. It's due for release in March. So it comes just after my birthday, so it's on my shopping list. So we'll just see.
You'll have it.
I want to have it. Unless there's anything that's a disastrous marketing comes out between now and then that suggests.
To be fair, it just looked like something that I'll be purchasing.
Instantly thought I could do that on the commute, which would be good. My journey to work would be quite a nice place just to shove it in the bag, get it out and play that on the move.
Like I said, it'd be great for once you can have it the dock downstairs when we all want to play multiplayer games, and if she wants to take it upstairs to go to bed with, just to have an hour before bed or whatever, she can sit there with it on a table by the side of the bed. It
does look versatile. Look. Brilliant. And that neatly brings us on to the way we finish every show, which is our quiz.
You
have a chance in Carl's absence today to move even further ahead of him And AJ, you have the chance to catch up. So on,
How far am I
as
behind?
of the end of episode 3, Carl was on 3, but he's not here today, so that's not going to change. Chris was ahead on 5 after a storming round on
Cheated,
episode 3.
I reckon. Yeah, access to the...
Adam, you're on 1, but you have the chance here to catch up because there's 3 questions as always.
Doubt it.
Themed. There's always a theme. I try to make sure there's a theme.
Is it on cars?
No, this week's theme
theme
is in connection with my topic, which is the Nintendo announcement. It's Nintendo themed.
Right.
But I have movie, TV and gaming to keep it fair. So, if you've got your devices to hand to make your selections, we'll start with our quiz. We need a jingle for this, by the way. So if anybody is listening to this podcast or actually tunes into this, which I'm not sure anyone does, but if they do and you want to send us a jingle, if you make jingles, then you can email me at bossbattlenetwork@gmail.com or tweet us at bossbattlenet. We'd love to get someone to create us a jingle for
Or
this
even
quiz.
just to say hello would be
We
nice.
could do an Alan
Yeah, if you
Partridge
just send us a
style
question,
one.
say hi, yeah.
Just do an Alan Partridge style
Or-
one where he records his own voice going, "It's quiz time!" Or something
Okay.
like that.
You do that now then, I would like a jingle from you,
Right,
Chris.
ready? It's quiz time!
I was going to say,
maybe.
before we got
That
into that as
won't
well,
sound good.
if anybody is listening and they do want to join us in any of the games that we've mentioned, how would they get hold of our gamer tags? Is it through the Boss Battle Network?
Probably easier, they can go either email us or get us on Twitter and we'll send those out, or they can follow us on Twitch. We're always on there and we'll sort of add people as we go along when we're playing. So yeah, Twitch is Boss Battle Network as well, so if anyone wants us on that, they can do that. But yeah, any kind of communication, send us an email, say hi, tell us that you actually listen, let us know someone follows this rubbish, ask us a question, it'd be great to hear from someone. Anyway, on to the quiz. I've just completely crashed Chris's quiz jingle.
Quiz time!
It is for the
It's
third
terrible.
time. We might, It'll do till we get a better one. We keep that in your bank. Chris. So question 1.
Yeah, we'll give it a-
Question 1 is your gaming related question.
Cut that out.
Which of these is the best-selling Nintendo games console?
idea.
Game of all time. So, which is the best-selling Nintendo game of all time? Is it A, Wii Sports? Is it B, Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, or Yellow? Is it C, Wii Fit? Or is it D, Super Mario Brothers, the original one on the Nintendo? And I am only interested in the version that came out on the console that was released on initially, not ports, Virtual Boy, anything like that. So, was it A, Wii Sports, B, Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, Yellow, Wii Fit, Super Mario Brothers? Happy you got an answer?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Question 2 is your movie question.
Yeah. Oh, well.
1993 Super Mario Brothers, the movie, starring Bob Hoskins,
I was hoping you were going to ask who was in my head.
is generally considered a poor movie, but it was nominated for 2 awards. What were they? Was it A, visual effects and makeup? Was it B, makeup and costumes? Was it C, best actor and visual effects? Or was it D, best makeup and best supporting actress? So visual effects and makeup, B, makeup and costumes, C, best actor and visual effects, or D, makeup and best supporting actress? Put your answers down. Happy with that?
Yeah.
Question 3 is your television. It's really hard to find things that are Nintendo related in TV. So it's Mario again. Super Mario Brothers Super Show was a cartoon released in 1989. It ran for 65 episodes, but which of these was not a title of an episode?
Oh, right.
So you've got A, Rowdy Roddy's Rotten Pipes, B, 9001 and Mario Odyssey, C, Koopa Troopa Scooper, or D, Cher's Poochie? So is it A, Rowdy Roddy's Rotten Pipes, B, 9001 and Mario Odyssey, C, Koopa Troopa Scooper, or D, Cher's Poochie?
Can I just add if I end up getting 3 out of 3? It's a complete fluke.
Have you got an answer for each of those?
Yeah.
So, we'll go back to question 1 then and see what you put. So, for the best-selling Nintendo game of all time, Adam, you thought it was
Wii Sports.
Wii Sports.
I went Wii Fit.
You went Wii Fit. The correct answer was Wii Sports.
Oh.
82 million copies sold.
It came bundled with the
And it came packaged with the Wii in all regions except Japan.
I totally didn't know that.
Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, Yellow sold 59 million units. Wii Fit sold 43 million units, and Super Mario 40 million units. Super Mario selling 40 million units is pretty impressive back then, considering the penetration of the console.
Yeah.
When you consider that the Wii sold 100 million worldwide. Now Japan's the exception, which is why that number isn't matching that with Wii Sports. But you imagine that bundle went across the world 82 million. So an easy one to be selling. So that was that one. So you were correct, Adam. 1 point to you, 0 for you, Chris. So the movie one, 1993 Super Mario Brothers, the movie starring Bob Hoskins, is generally considered a poor movie, but it was nominated for 2 awards. What were they, Chris?
I've gone makeup and costumes.
Makeup and costumes.
Yeah,
for
I
Chris.
was on the same.
It's the correct answer. Yeah. And they were the Saturn Awards.
Eat that, Carl.
Does that put me level with Carl then?
It does put you level with Carl now. That's 2 points to Adam, 1 point to Chris.
I've got this one right.
So, Super Mario Brothers Super Show cartoon released in 1989, ran for 65 episodes. Which of these is not a title of an episode? Adam.
I've gone with Rowdy Roddy Pipes.
Rowdy Roddy's Rotten Pipes.
Yeah.
That's my second guess. I've gone with Cher's Poochie.
Cher's Poochie is also a genuine episode title. The one that was made up was the Koopa Trooper Scooper, and I made that one up. The rest of them were genuine titles. I thought Cher's Poochie was great because at the time, I'm sure in 1989, Poochie was not another word for ladies' delicate areas, but it is now, so quite funny. So that means that Adam, you scored 2, Chris, you scored 1, which puts you on 6, Adam on 3, joint with Carl. So that's got you back in the race.
I'm 1 episode down on you. That's all right.
So it's Carl right for having a headache. So
air quotes, headache.
Air quotes. So that was our quiz, and that brings us to the end of our episode 4 today. So in the next couple of weeks, we've got episode 5 to record. No idea what we're going to be talking about in that. We'll see what the news brings us. But we've also got our first spoiler cast on Sunday of this week, which is when we'll be recording it after Doctor Strange. So we're going to be doing a spoiler cast as a sort of separate from the normal running order episodes. This will just sit separately on the podcast, but it's going to be Doctor Strange, full spoilers. So if you plan to see the film and you haven't seen it when we run this, don't play it, don't spoil it for yourself. We will be talking about everything that happens, the plot, the twists, the after credit scene, and all of that fun. So that'll be coming in the next few weeks.
I'm happy to do a spoiler cast jingle in the style of the one.
You're going to do us a jingle, and we will have Chris's.
You can look forward to that. There's a reason to tune in.
We could open with the jingle, and then if people haven't seen the film yet, they could turn it off, and then come back for the spoiler later.
It's certainly good.
Perhaps just tune in to get the jingle.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, so you've got 3 days.
There's your
2 days
incentive
to think of the jingle.
Okay.
So that's your challenge. Otherwise, you can contact us, as we've already said, on bossbattlenetwork@gmail.com. Feel free to drop us a line, anything you like, ask us a question, maybe a topic for discussion, or if you want to get involved and play some games with us on stream, let us know. You can find us on Twitch at Boss Battle Network again, and on Twitter we are Boss Battle Net. So do tweet us. Again, any questions, any thoughts, anything you want to say, just let us know you're out there. That'd be great. Otherwise, it's a big thank you from me for tuning in, and from Adam.
Yep, thank you very much.
Good night.
Chris, good night. Or afternoon or morning, depending on what time of day you're listening to the episode.
We're assuming you've got worldwide listeners. Yeah. Sayonara.
That they're not
Or
listening.
that listens to us my morning. Or
back in the morning.
Oh yeah.
We're not live.
The concept of internet streaming
Oh,
just dawned on Chris. Cheers, everyone. Cheers, everyone, and goodbye.